Hey, good morning. Christy Mattoon here from Rewire. It is a little bit early here, so I hope you can hear me okay. I just now spent the whole weekend at an energy healing conference in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was touted as the biggest energy healing conference that has ever been there, and it was crazy amazing. I was one of their guest speakers, and I spoke at noon on Saturday about heart-brain coherence. And it's one of the things that I teach people. I've been teaching this a long time. I tell the story that it was gifted to me by God. It was a gift brought to me by an angel, is what I believe happened. It's what I saw happened. And it's funny because sometimes I doubt myself on this stuff, but when the evidence shows up so boldly, it's hard to really doubt this. So what happened in my journey was that I kept asking God to make things easier. Everything that I was doing, and even though it wasn't technically hard, like it wasn't hard to do, it just didn't work all the time. The programs, and some of them got so convoluted with their methods and the things that they were doing, that it was either just a lot of time or it was confusing to actually run through the protocol. And if you missed a step, you could have an issue, or that would be kind of the idea. So all of those things to me were just like, this is ridiculous. If Jesus could just lay his hands on people, if Mother Teresa could just lay her hands on people, if Ma, the hugging mother, could just hug somebody and cause such a huge difference in their system and in their life, then why aren't we doing that? Why are we going through these huge protocols and huge processes, and most of them outside of us? And how many times have you heard it's all inside of you? It's all inside of you. And it truly is all inside of you. But why can't we find it? Why can't we use it? Why can't we do it? Why do we have to use stuff outside of us to activate something inside of us? And that was kind of where I had gotten to with all of this. So in my quest and my asking and my searching, you get really passionate about this at some point when you're super struggling and you're really trying to get stuff done. And I was. So I kept asking, and what I found out was that it is all inside of you. And this angel appeared in front of me and said, here, do it this way. And literally just like handed something into my chest. And I felt my heart light up. And I all of a sudden instantly just understood, and I was like, whoa, seriously. And my thought was like, wow, it's that easy? And it was that easy, and it's continued to be that easy, and it's what I do with a lot of people now, pretty much with everybody who came through my booth at the fair this last weekend. That's what we did. We sat down and I helped them get into heart-brain coherence. The angel showed me an extra step that heart-brain coherence doesn't typically have. So the protocol, I'm going to actually walk you through that here in just a second. The protocol through Heart Math Institute is very, very simple. And I didn't even recognize they had one until the weekend before. So this is all just kind of lining up, which is crazy and interesting to me. The synchronicities, right? When the heart and the brain are in alignment, the synchronicities happen even faster. And so there's more steps to what the angel showed me than what Heart Math does. And so I think that's interesting too. It involves your gut, because your heart, the little brain of the heart, isn't the only other brain. You have a gut brain. We've discussed all of this stuff and we know all this stuff. The question is, how do you use it and what do you use it for? The question used to be, can you use it? Yeah, you can use it. We know that now. That's not even a question. You use it all the time, whether you realize you are or realize you're not. And you even use it all the time, whether you know it or not. You can actually use it whenever you want to, which is the key, is to knowing that you can use it whenever you want to. You can actually train your response to those systems, to those brains, instead of your head brain, which is even more interesting. So as I was talking and working at this energy psychology conference, I ran people through this protocol that I'm about to run you through. And what happened was people were coming back to me One lady said she's been working on something for a long time now, trying to get her own business up and running, actually, and this idea that she can feel inside of her, she just can't get it out. And she said, going through this little process I took her through, it all just came flooding in. She knows exactly what it is she needs to do. And I was just like, whoa, get back in touch with me. I want to hear more about this. She was blown away. Another lady I worked with has a collapsed lung. Started really trying to breathe again. She got out from underneath the guise of some family members that were causing some crazy, awful issues in her life. Unfortunately, very close family members. They were her sons. And they were just suffocating her. They're narcissistic, is the word that she used. And if you know narcissism, if you're under the guise of that, it's crushing. It's crushing what that does to a person. And literally for her, it equated to a collapsed lung. Her lungs were shutting down. And she came back up to me the day after and she was like, this is insane. She was blown away that all of a sudden she felt freed. She felt lifted from having to be underneath their power. Amazing what happens when you come into alignment with yourself. Another young man I worked with this last weekend, and these are 15-minute sessions. These are not long, drawn-out sessions. These were like 15 to 20-minute sessions. Another young man, I think he turned into a Jedi Knight, because that was who he went to. That was the power he went to. In his own mind, we had to create him a little superhero to feel some power inside his body. This kid was only 17 years old. And when he walked up and sat down with me, he wouldn't look me in the eye, wouldn't talk to me, barely said if he was looking down, talking at the ground. By the time it was over, he stood up and gave me the biggest hug. He almost crushed my spine. He hugged me so hard. When I saw him again later that day, he walked by and he gave me again another huge hug that was just like, thank you so much. I'm not sure exactly what changed in him, but he was not the same person. He was walking around, and what my instructions to all of these people were at that time were, you're in a safe place right now. You're in a place full of energy healers. Everybody in here does something a little bit different, but it's a safe space. Open your heart. Go walk around and talk to them. Talk to every single one of them. And when you're doing it, practice doing it from the space of your heart. Instead of in your head, be here and just notice what happens. And that's what they were doing. I'm pretty sure that's what this one kid was doing, and he was just blown away. Another young lady sat down actually with her mother, and I worked with the young girl first. She looked like she was 15, but she was actually 24. So talk about some good genes. I believe she was from Romania. Beautiful young lady. And when she sat down, she said her biggest problem she wanted to work on was her anxiety for guys. She was petrified of guys, of men. And she said she just looks at him and she gets this ugh inside her body, and she's scared to death of him. That's all we worked on, was that anxiety. Maybe 15 minutes. Maybe that long. And my son just happened to be with me, and he was helping me that day, yesterday. And I said, hey, Brando, can you take this young lady for a walk and take her to the drinking fountain? I told her something just kind of silly, right? Can you walk her to the drinking fountain? And I looked at her and I said, would that be all right if he helped you find a drinking fountain? And her eyes got kind of huge for a second. And I said, go back to your heart. And she just immediately, and she was like, yeah, I think that'll be fine. And I was like, are you serious? This is so freaking cool. And then they walked around together. She kept coming back to our booth, and they kept walking around and doing their thing. So amazing. Fear gone. I told her there was one guy in there in particular she was really petrified of. I said, you go stand in front of that guy. He taught Qigong. Go stand in front of that guy. And just view him from your heart so you can see him differently than how you're perceiving him in your mind. And she did, and she said she talked to him, and he had the most amazing evidence and different things for her to understand. In 15 minutes, connecting your heart back to your head can make such a huge difference. what we tend to do and what we have been taught to do is to operate out of our brain. It's where information is stored. It's where you think from. It's where we thought for the longest time, like almost your soul sits there, right? Your mind, will, and emotions. And it's all right here inside your head. And that is so incorrect, it's not even funny. And it's led most of us so astray. It's an awful way to live. If you're living out of your brain, it is an awful way to live. Here's what happens. Your brain is polarity. Your brain gives you yeses and nos, rights and wrongs, do's and don'ts, cans and can'ts, over and over and over again. And when that happens, when you are so caught up in your brain and all of these lists of do's and don'ts and cans and can'ts, and you're trying to keep all that separate, it will literally, over time, make you insane because you can't keep it straight. And some of the information's not correct. Some of the information that you were given was straight up a lie. And we do this all the time in energy work. What was a lie? What's the truth? Give their junk back to them. Take your power back. All the time in energy work, we're doing that kind of stuff. Where people have, like, quote unquote, given their power away, or somebody has stolen their power from them. And we're trying to retrieve it and help them take their power back into their system. And it's all because you're caught up in your head. Because if you weren't in your head, if you were truly operating from a heart space, you never would have given your power away to start with. You would have recognized that that was something you would never do to yourself because you matter so much to you. And this is sacred. The heart's a sacred space. So when you recognize this, you stay out of your head, you stay connected in your heart, that's where these huge shifts were occurring. What happens when you're in your heart, when you're in heart-brain coherence, everything is connected differently. Everything feels different. You actually connect your heart back to your body. You get a cascade of chemicals through your system that causes a healing reaction, not only emotionally, but also physically. So the benefits of being connected heart and brain are longevity, because you actually awaken a system in your body that stops deterioration. Your body will actually excrete an enzyme that will heal, self-healing on your telomeres. Those are the little end caps on the ends of the strands of DNA. Like, look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Because if those deteriorate, or as those are deteriorating as we age, that's the aging process right there. The closer they get to the DNA stops functioning the way it's supposed to. They're protective caps. And there's an enzyme your body produces naturally that keeps those perfect. It keeps those exactly the way they're supposed to be. And if you're not producing that enzyme, guess what's not happening? That's why we're aging so rapidly. And we're not supposed to. It's not supposed to happen this way. And there's many factors involved. Our food supply, obviously, the air supply, the water supply, all the things that would be keeping us alive and keeping us healthy that have been tainted and poisoned. Right? So you have to moderate, and you have to be careful about everything you do, especially about things you ingest, about things that you're breathing around. It becomes super important. So when you connect your heart to your head, you rejuvenate your own body, you rejuvenate your own system. Your biological markers literally move backwards. That's right. Your biological markers will literally start moving backwards. So there's people have been tested wherever they were at in their biological markers, where they were, 40 years old appearing as a 70-year-old, not only in look, but by the way their heart was working, their liver was working, liver function, their hormone function, all of those things. When you connect your heart to your head and get that working right, really practice it, those markers would move backwards. Those systems would start healing. You fire up your immune response when you're connected heart to head. And if your immune system's working properly, guess what that means? Autoimmune issues. Who here has autoimmune issues, right? I had tons of labels. When you get this working right, those start reversing. And along with everything else you're doing, it's going to start working just the way it's supposed to. You actually get direct access to heart intelligence. Did you know, because we're trying so hard to think in our brain, we've lost the intelligence factor of our heart. We were taught to stay out of our heart, because inside your heart, you have direct access, and I'll say the word God. You have direct access into the universe, into that extra intelligence, into, I don't even know, I've heard so many different words for it. The cosmic library, right? The idea that there's extra information in the universe, you get different access into that. And it's direct access from the heart. My battery's about to die. Oh, I have to get this finished. Your neurons actually access different information. They fire differently. Things will start hooking up differently and working better. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, right? So you get super intuition. If you're a person searching for intuition, connect to your heart. Intuition goes through the roof when you're in this place. And it's not even like you have to work for it. It's there. You already have it. This is a whole thing where they say it's all inside of you. It truly is all inside of you, and that's where it sits. It's in these other systems, but we were taught to stay here. Okay, so we want to get you out of your head and into your heart. So here's how you do it. This is the basic gist of all this. Here's how you do it. Here's one way to do it. I start with breathing, which is why I did the video the other day on breath. You have to have a functional breath. Oxygen does a lot of stuff in your system, so go back and watch that video. I'll try and find the link and stick it on here for you so you can see it, even loosening up your diaphragm so you can get a better breath. You want your cells oxygenated. I didn't talk about water, but drink water. Not anything else. Water. Put lemon in it if you want to, whatever you need to do. But drink plenty of clean water. Your cells need to be hydrated. Before you drink the water, put your hands around it and say something wonderful to it. Like, bless the water. The water holds memory. It holds and stores knowledge. I think it's Microsoft right now is actually developing technology where instead of a regular microchip and however they're connecting to the proverbial cloud, they're using water drops to store information. And what they're finding is they can store more information in those drops of water than anything that they've ever self-created. And they don't even know where the information is going, because the more information they put in it, the more information they can put in it. And they're like, where does it go? It goes into the ether. Where do you think it goes? It goes where all the other information goes. But through the water stores information. It doesn't even store it, it passes it on. Put your hands around your water. I'm not joking about this. You move energy. When you're doing this, think wonderful thoughts. Bless the water. Bless the spirit. I heard somebody say this quite a while ago, actually. He said, bless the spirit of natural water to come back to the water so that it's natural, whole water. It's holy water. And all you have to do is put your hands around it and say the words, right? Feel some gratitude inside your heart, which is part of what we're about to do next. So breath, hydration, two huge factors, right? Do that. And the next thing you're going to do after you start breathing, you're going to get your breath going, and then you're going to bring your hand to your heart center. Touch your heart center and just feel it. So you're bringing your hand towards the center of your chest. And you can use the prayer hands, right? Your thumbs fit right into this little area right in the center of your chest, and it activates that area. And it's just bringing your awareness there. That's all you're doing. Bring your awareness down to your heart. You're still breathing, so you've got your inhales and exhales going. Big breaths in, long breaths out. Bring your awareness down to your heart center, and then go into gratitude. Be in huge gratitude, and don't just think the words, feel it. When you're in connection with your heart, you will start feeling what you're saying. If you're only feeling stuff in your brain, keep working your way down towards your heart. Keep trying to bring the thoughts down inside your heart. Sometimes I'll tell people to visualize a funnel in the top of their heart, and you're literally bringing the information, bring the words of gratitude down and drop them into your heart. You're just dropping it in, dropping it in, dropping it in. And then try and feel it. So you want to let your heart activate. Now, a lot of people that I work with tell me I don't feel anything. And I talked to a lady this week, yesterday actually. She said the exact same thing. I don't feel anything. She goes, but when I was doing that, even just imagining dropping those words in there, the words themselves, she said, just kind of disappeared. And she goes, even though I didn't feel anything, I had stopped thinking. And then she goes, she actually said this, and she goes, and then my body felt different. And I'm like, so you are feeling, you just said I felt different. She goes, but it didn't feel it in my heart. I felt it in my body. It's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. Bruce Lipton, I think it was the other day, said that the subconscious mind isn't here. And they're trying to figure out, like, where is the subconscious mind? Forever people saying this. And he's like, I think it's the whole body. It's all the cellular information. Because every cell knows what every other cell knows. They all have the information. It's not just a brain thing. It's not just a heart thing. It's a whole body experience. And she's like, and I just felt it in my body. And I'm like, then you're feeling. Don't say you're not feeling. You are feeling. So changing her words around, and she recognized that was a feeling. She got super excited. And then guess what she felt? Her eyes got huge. She was like, she felt the excitement at her heart level. It's just like, it just keeps going and going, right? Connecting the two, even just pretending like you are. That's what she thought she was doing, was just pretending like she was. It'll get you there. You just have to do the work. This is not an instant fix. Did we have some 15-minute wins? We had some huge 15-minute wins. But here's what I tell people. Set your phone to go off every 10 minutes. Not every 10 minutes, I'm sorry. Every hour is what I usually tell people. And every hour, do the breath work. Now every hour, reconnect to your heart. So you're literally practicing reconnecting to your heart. You have to. Because we are so used to practicing being in our brain. We are so used to letting everything else take over. You have to get back to a place where you can practice being in your heart. You recognize your heart, and you're actually working through your heart instead of working from your head. I guarantee you it will make a huge difference. I hope this helps. My name is Christy Mattoon. I will be putting out a short course on this. I have a course on the whole brain state. I have a course on activating your pineal gland. I do live courses with people online all the time that actually includes a 21-day hormone reset. And it's an 8-week course. That's a little bit more pricey than some of the other ones. If you are interested in any of these things, contact me. I don't typically put them up on my website, which I probably should at this point. But if you're interested, just let me know in doing any of these courses. Activating your own body to do the work is huge. All of the other protocols out there that are so amazing, do something, they work. If you have to keep going to a practitioner to get yourself back to steady, back to normal, we've missed the heart aspect. Because if you're connected into your heart and it truly is inside of you, then you shouldn't need to do that. We need the connection of people around us as friends, not as practitioners. We need a connection of people around us as a body of humans loving each other, not as a body of humans as practitioners to each other. It's a huge difference in a way of thinking. I have this poster from an event I went to. Whoa. You probably saw my post on this. I was so excited to be there. His stuff is interesting. You know, some of the things, and some of the things he's done with himself and for himself are just super, super cool. The top of this poster says, when the evidence no longer supports the story, it's time for a new story. When the evidence no longer supports the story, it's time for a new story. Guys, it's time for a new story. The evidence and what we have been doing does not work. It doesn't work. At best, it's short-lived because it's not inside of you when you're doing all these other things. If it's truly inside of you, it's going to stick and it's going to be around and it's going to be something you can repeat. It's going to be something that's actionable, that you have control of, not somebody else. You should have control of it. That's what I teach. That's what I do. It's what I did for myself. That's what I continue to do for myself. Please like and subscribe. If this helps, share it. It's a little bit longer than anything I do, so I apologize for that. There'll be more coming. I'm going to take you through through one of these where we're actively doing it together instead I'm just walking you through it. So hopefully that'll be helpful. But check out, another thing you can check out is Heart Math Institute. They actually have a machine you can hook yourself up to that will tell you if you're in coherence, heart to brain. It gives you the information. And to me, that's just super interesting that we can look at a scan, we can look at something and actually see if you're in coherence or not. Check all this stuff out. Please subscribe, share this video. Blessings. Love you all. Thank you.